Hello, everyone. And today is July the 4th, and it's Independence Day, or if you want to look at it another way, independence. That means we are dependent because we are independence, and we're independence of government. Um, so today is July the 4th, and I've been talking about starting a new calendar, adopting a new calendar called the 13-month calendar, which means there are 13 months in every year and 28 days in every month. It's very simple. It's a very simple calendar. But you might be thinking, well, what's that going to do? Like, big deal, a calendar. Well, actually, it's going to do, I think, a whole lot. Of course, it's a bit speculative on my part. I will admit that. But like anything new, like the Wright brothers, and I'm not suggesting that this is in that order, but it could be, um, building a plane when nobody had thought about flying and just thought it inconceivable to be able to fly. It's a little bit like that, sort of, because time, I don't know if it's an illusion or if it's real. Some people say it's an illusion. Now, nonetheless, everything that we do kind of is based in time. And that is a reality. Whether it's time is an illusion or not, we're not sure. But the fact that we do live by it is a reality. And we were given a template. We were given a clock that has 24 hours in it. It's 12, but then it's only got 12 on the clock. But it actually covers a 24-hour period, so it has to go around twice. So somebody came up with that. That's a template. And then somebody came up with the template that we have so many days in some months, and we have months. We have so many days in some months, so many days in other months, and we, or whoever it was, decided, this month's going to have 30 days, this month's going to have 31 days. Now, it doesn't really have any rhyme or reason. It's not consistent. It has no geometry and no beauty to it. It's just, it's just something. It's just a construct that we go by. But somebody put that in, and if somebody put that in, then somebody can put something else in. And that's what I'm suggesting that we do, that we adopt the 13-moon calendar, which is a derivative of one of the Mayan calendars. But it's a fairly loose calendar, but it's very easy to adopt if you've been doing the Gregorian calendar. It still has 7 days in every week, and we can name the days anything we want. I know everybody goes by what's been done before, but that just keeps replicating the same thing. So if we're going to start taking claim to what we want, well, we just decide what we want. I'm just making a suggestion. I'm just making a proposal. And this is the method we have to learn to adopt if we want to be free earthlings. So the calendar was put in, and it doesn't have any sense, and it has, like, it's been pushed out by kings in the parts that it does make sense. For example, October is from the Greek word octo, meaning 8, and so deci is the Greek word 10, and I'm not sure for the September and November, but they also have Greek origins based in other numbers than what our months are called. So October occurs in the 10th month, but it really means 8. It should have been in the 8th month. But do you know why it's like that? It's because the kings, Julius and Augustus, wanted a month for themselves. So they stuck in July and August, and who cares? Everybody just goes by it anyway. And everybody did. So it doesn't have to make any sense. But the 13-moon calendar makes a heck of a lot of sense, because it has the same amount of new moons every year. Now, the calendar is a little bit, it's got a few snags in it, like a year is 365 and a quarter days. And the moon phases are a little bit inconsistent. For example, every year there are 13 new moons, but there are 12 full moons one year and 13 the next. It alternates. One year it has 12 full moons, the next year has 13 full moons. So over that whole year period. So there are some sort of inconsistencies to a calendar that doesn't really allow us to be totally consistent, and we have to fit that in. With the Gregorian calendar, how they fitted that in, that quarter of a day, was by having one full day every 4 years. That makes perfect sense, and I think we might want to go by that, but even when we do take the 13 moon calendar up. But the 13 moon calendar people have a different perspective, and that can be explored as well, which is we don't have that extra day every year, but we have them all together after some years. So everything is our choice. And this is really what the world is about. The beautiful world that we know is possible is about, is that we have choices, but we've been led to believe that we don't. So anyway, somebody had to decide the Gregorian calendar, and they did, and everybody went by it. So now what I'm suggesting is let's decide something else, and let's do it in a nice transitionary way, so that it doesn't disrupt too much. So how are we going to? Why are we going to do it? Why don't we just stay with the calendar that we got? Like, who cares? What's it going to do? Well, there's a good reason for it. Because we are not in sync with the calendar that we see through the celestial bodies, then what happens is we are out of sync with what's going on in our bodies, because they are in sync with it. And nature is in sync with it. So we're the ones that are out of sync with nature because of the time that we have been sort of corralled to see. So this is not just out of my imagination. I just didn't pull it out of a hat somewhere. If you look at what happened to the calibration of music in the 1940s, after the Nazis and all those sweet types came over to here, to the United States, and they started some things here. And I don't want to go into that right now. But we could if you wanted to bring it up. But they changed the calibration of music from 432 hertz to 440 hertz. Now, why did they bother? Like, they went and changed everything so that it was calibrated in a different frequency. Why? Why would they do that? So you've got to ask yourself these questions. The reason I think they did it was because we are frequency beings, and they have put us out of our equilibrium and out of our natural cycles. So we don't get to see things by the moon cycle. We don't get to plant things by the moon cycle. And I'm not saying that it's got a huge effect, but it's probably got an effect. And we don't know. So we really need to explore it. This is the kind of studying that we need to do in the new paradigm, in the new earth. And we're all just sort of like bubbling with ideas, and we all want to hear we all want to share our ideas, because we really love sharing things when we think we're onto something good. Something happens along the way. We sort of think, oh, nobody wants to hear our ideas. I've been saying it forever, and it's just falling on deaf ears, and it's very demoralizing. So the reason is because we're going through an incredible period of time where the planets have lined up, and a lot of us astrological signs show that this is a once in a 26,000 year occurrence. Now, give or take, though, nature isn't anal. It usually works within a range. And so we are at this period now where we're going through this amazing new age. We've got the digital technologies, and we've got all sorts of wonderful technologies that we can use. We want to get the earth restored again. We want to get off polluting energies, and we want to get into clean and renewable energies, and energies that don't make you feel guilty, basically. So we're here too because we are creatures of the earth, but we have been going against nature. And I think it's because of our time. Our time is out of sync. If we were more in tune with the celestial bodies, with the moon especially, which has seems to have a lot of influence on nature and on Earth, I think that we'd have more clarity. We'd see things easier. So we've been put out of that equilibrium by various means, and the calendar is one of them. So my suggestion is, and my proposal is, that we adopt a calendar. We can look around, we can do some shopping. What calendar would we want if we really chose our own civilization, if we were in the civilization that we would love to be in? And that, to me, is a civilization where we are, we work out how we're going to have everybody's voice heard, and then choose the one that makes the most sense. And there's going to be a lot of discrepancies, but we will find what the 80% of the people want. And that way, at least we can work with something, and we can still try to please the other 20%. And the other 20%, if they're not pleased with something, they need to come up with an alternative. And so that's how we do it. We don't say, no, you can't do it because it doesn't make sense. Because nothing makes total sense, because we really don't know anything. We really don't know anything, but we know. We have this knowingness or a feeling of what's right. And that happens when we feel that we're in we're appreciating beauty in some way, or geometry, or things that come together, fusion, elegance of fusion. So having our own calendar just sets us into the right time frame in our minds, that we're consistent, that we abide by, or we don't abide. The language is very stilted, but we acknowledge the phases of the moon, and we acknowledge that nature goes by it as well, with the seasons and all sorts of things. And I think we'll be more in tune with that. So I just got a message that the microphone is noisy. I apologize for that. I don't know why. I'll continue on and bring it to a close. But I suggest that the 13 moon calendar starts on July 26th. The year starts on July 26th. And here's what I'm suggesting, that this year on July 26th, and I know it's not very long to go because today is July the 4th, on July 26th, we plan to start. We start a new century as well, to coincide with the 13 moon calendar new year. I get really excited about this, but I know it's going to take a while for it to sink in. So I just thought I'd better start talking about it, because I've been talking about it online, but not talking about it in a video. And I think a video reaches more people. And I hope that you will just give this a bit of consideration. Imagine starting a whole new era of our own, where we start at systems. At the beginning, all we have to do for July 26th, which is coming right up, all we have to do is just put the new calendar note annotation before the Gregorian calendar annotation. Now, computers haven't changed their dates yet, so we'll have to change all the programming, and that will be a gradual process. But there's got to be a lot more people who have to be convinced first. But for the people who are convinced to do this, we can begin. We do not have to wait to convince everybody, because there are enough people who believe in freedom now, who don't want a vaccine, and who can envisage a better world where we can have automation for our benefit, not from people who want to make profit off us. They're the ones that are deciding what happens to the technology, and we are at a profound, and it is limited as well, because pretty soon they're going to have everybody wearing face masks, and if you don't wear a face mask, I don't know what's going to happen to you. But I definitely won't be one of those people wearing face masks, and I'm not scared of them. But the thing is, that's the kind of world where people think that you have to do what they say, or people think that they have to do what somebody else tells them. So this is a new era that we're starting to think. Let's put it into action. Let's tie the whole thing together. Let's have a platform that is our base, our cohesion. So that's one of them, is the calendar. The other one is using another exchange system. Now, we won't be able to pay our electricity bill with it and things like that, but we can start using one so that we can, at least when we do things, say, to build this new society. If I appreciate something you do for me, or if you do something, if I ask you to do something for me, I can pay you in Numero. In fact, that's the system I recommend. In fact, I think it would be a great idea if businesses reopened after this ridiculous sham that we're doing with the COVID thing, if they reopened only giving numeros, or it doesn't have to be numeros, but only giving another alternative system rather than bankers' money. Because if we do nothing, that's what we're locked into. That's what we're going to keep on perpetrating. And this is the reality. It's the reality as much as we need to drink water still. Even though we're light beings, we need to eat food. It's as much as of a material reality as that. So I'm saying, let's get into another material reality that we take responsibility for. And okay, so they kill us. I know. If you're going to fight in a revolution, at least be doing what you want, instead of just fighting them all the time, instead of just, like reacting to what they dish out. Let's dish something ourselves, to ourselves. We want it to only people who want it. We don't have to force anybody, but they have to force people to want their system. But we don't have to. So there's very few days left. I'm going to end this here. I don't know how the recording came out. I hope it came out legible, but and clearly audible. But anyway, please think about it, because we've only got a few days. It doesn't matter. We don't need to plan things, because serendipity is a thing. Okay, life doesn't go by a schedule, so we can do this, and if we imagine it, we will actually be putting it into practice, because that's what they've been doing to us over these centuries. They've been getting us to imagine their scenario. There's a lot in there. It's a long story. More will come, but I'll keep it brief so that you don't have to have a big bite of this. So we'll talk to you again next time. And that was just about the 13 moon calendar. So please think about it, because the 26th of July is coming up pretty soon. And I think that we've got to start preparing our celebrations. Can you imagine New Year's Eve on July 25th, that we will no longer have 2020. We will no longer have the Gregorian calendar. We will no longer be giving our time to Rome. So just think about it and enjoy. Talk to you later.